It's the KC Arts Beat Report. I'm Patrick Neese. Thanks for joining me. And please subscribe if you like information about the arts. And please follow us on Facebook too. We've got a lot of interesting information about the arts on Facebook every single day. You'll find out all kinds of great information about what composer, what artist's birthday is that day, great events in history and the arts on that day. So please check us out on Facebook. But right now, I'm going to be talking with three good friends as well as colleagues. William Baker, who is the founder and music director of the Choral Foundation, Dr. Jamia Sale, the executive associate director of the Choral Foundation and the director of the Institute for Healthy Singing and Research, and Nicole Williams, who's the education director for the Institute of Healthy Singing and Research. Did I get all those titles right?
I think you did.
Oh, okay.
Pretty close.
Wow. I'm impressed with myself. Well, that's great. It's such, I have spoken with you guys so many times over the years. I've always been in awe of the great work you do. And we're going to be talking about that. And we're going to be talking about how people can help you continue to do this great work through the Kaleidoscope Gala, which you're going to be having very soon. When is that, Bill? And where? And what can people expect at this event?
Well, the Kaleidoscope Gala will be this coming Thursday night, January 30th, starting at 6 o'clock at the Carriage Club, which is on State Line Road, just south of Shawnee Mission Parkway. Jamia, why don't you give us an overview of what the night is going to be like?
Well, the event's going to start at 6 p.m. and the evening will begin with drinks and a meal, and a silent auction will be taking place. And I'll let Nicole talk about that in a minute. But there will be a program that is featuring all the varied aspects of the Choral Foundation, of which there are so many. And oftentimes people will enter the Choral Foundation through one door and not realize that there's a lot of other doors with wonderful things going on. So our idea was that we were going to have a kaleidoscope of experiences. So some speakers will talk about the various branches of the Choral Foundation, including the Institute for Healthy Singing and Voice Research, all of our performance ensembles, whether they be here in Kansas City or Atlanta or Chicago. And we will have some performers that will be doing some singing and at least one comedy routine. So it's going to be a really, really fun night.
You listed three cities, and it's just amazing how the Choral Foundation is involved in so many different communities doing great work. Bill, you're originally from Atlanta. Can you give us a kind of a brief overview what you got cooking down there in Atlanta, Georgia?
Well, it was just about 4 years ago, 40 years ago, on February 26th of 1985, when 21 singers gathered in the basement of a church in suburban Atlanta to start the first festival singers group. And from that, the Choral Foundation has grown to include 12 music ensembles based in 4 states, two educational institutions, including the Institute for Healthy Singing and Voice Research, that has done longitudinal studies between China and Kansas, that has done already 3 trips to Kenya for educational purposes and has established a relationship in music education in Kenya, and has done seminars and workshops that bring people from around the country. The Institute for Choral Creativity, based in Chicago now, that does a composition contest for new choral music that has attracted people from over 50 states and 17 languages and over 300 applicants on average every year. Amberway's Music Publishing, one of the largest music libraries in America, and a choral intern and student program that has graduated from our program over 40 choral leaders that are serving in leadership positions in universities and high schools and churches and all over America. So it's been crazy. As I said earlier, it's like drinking from the fire hose, and the water gets more intense every day. But it's fun, and a lot of people don't know that we have a national arts organization based right here in Roland Park, Kansas.
Oh, I know it's astounding. Did you ever dream when you were starting out singing with the Robert? You sang under Robert Shaw, didn't you?
I did. I sang in Robert Shaw's Atlanta Symphony Chorus and the Chamber Singers and the Atlanta Symphony Chamber Chorus. And when we started all of this in 1985, the vision that I had in my mind was nothing like this. I never had any dream that any of this could be possible. And I think that one of the things that we were talking about when we were putting the gala together is that the Choral Foundation has been blessed to be able to answer what we see as an unmet need. For example, the classical music community is really not embraced the Hispanic community at the level that I think the quality of the music and heritage deserves. So now we have Voces Festivas based here in Kansas City that is our year-round Spanish language choir. It was an unmet need. We were blessed to be able to serve it. Colleges and churches and high schools across America are having a hard time affording music. They can't. We have 15,000 titles now in the Jane Sullivan Library here in Roland Park that we are able to provide to those entities and community choruses that simply can't afford a lot of the music that they want to do. So there's an unmet need. So opportunity, imagination, and the filling of unmet needs, I think, has been what we've been blessed to do. And through the Kaleidoscope Gala, we want to tell the story about it. And quite frankly, we want to gather more resources to do it bigger and better.
Speaking of filling unmet needs, not only are you doing that here in Kansas City, but you're also doing it in Kenya. And I know that Jamia, you are a big part of that. You and Nicole have both gone over there. Can you tell us what you're up to in Kenya?
Yeah, we've had three visits to Kenya now. It started off with a someone kind of making us aware that Kenyans had been without any kind of formal music education for about 20 years. And in that period of time, that's pretty much a generation of people that really never learned to read notes and play instruments outside of the traditional instruments. And I kind of just want to pause right there and make note that their traditional music is a very rich and powerful thing, and they have maintained that and are very passionate about their music. But the Kenyan government required that they be able to read and indulge in Western music education. So we began by recruiting donations of instruments to send to Kenya. And we've sent hundreds of instruments, pieces of music, resources, educational stuff there. And then we've taken the IHS and VR, the Institute for Healthy Singing and Voice Research team, 3 times to assess needs and begin teaching teachers how to start teaching music. And it's just been a great time. Nicole, do you want to add anything to that?
I do. It's really incredible what's going on over there. And we arrived not really knowing what to expect. And we had the best well-laid plans on this is what we think you might need, only to get there and have our plans upended by what they actually need. And a lot of that is teacher training. And it was so funny because as an educator, walking in, seeing a planning meeting after school, it reminded me of meetings that I have been in where I'm tired from teaching at the end of the day and I don't really want to be here. I just want to get home, get my grades in, go to bed. And I recognize that in a lot of them. And the more we were able to talk with them and get to know them on a one-on-one basis and really figure out what their needs were for the classroom, we were able to tailor it to specific individuals and offer assistance in note reading or singing. And seeing that impact on the teachers was incredible. There was one teacher in the Kapkamich Primary School who was putting in her resignation. She was quitting at the end of the school year specifically because of the mandate from the government to teach Western music. She felt she was inadequate to teach it and was very overwhelmed. And after working with her for the couple weeks we were there, she retracted her resignation and said, I think I can do this now. So it's just amazing to be able to breathe life into the teachers over there and give them the tools that they're very capable of using and teaching. And they're just wonderful human beings to work with. So,
I wrote a story about this in the Star a few months ago, and one of the touching things, Jamia, that you told me about was the young girl who was playing trumpet with another in another town, and she didn't think she'd ever play trumpet again. And you went over there with a trumpet in your suitcase. And that must have been like the big, Christmas morning times 10 for that girl.
That was amazing. I had put an all call out on my little local community neighborhood app for instruments just in the days before we left. And a man who I had no connection to said, Hey, my daughter's not playing her trumpet anymore. Would you like to have it? And so it was unexpected to have the trumpet. And when the principal of the school said, we really would love to get a trumpet for Vern, this girl, I could not believe that I could just walk back to our room and grab a trumpet and present that to her. And it was a very joyful and tearful moment for all of us to see how excited she was. And we heard nothing but trumpet playing all over Kapkamich for the rest
yeah,
of the 2 weeks.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, to speak off of that, I talked about working with the teachers, but seeing the impact it also has on the students was just absolutely incredible as well. I mean, we all got chills watching her play a trumpet for the first time in what might have been months or a year, and she played it beautifully. And the other girls that were in the school with her were excited and interested in learning music, and just being able to see young teenagers and young children be able to take ownership of that and have a way to express themselves in an outlet. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, there was a quote she said, Jamia. I wish I had written it down. Do you remember it? What she said about music? Uh,
She said, never take it for granted. Music will take you places.
Music will take you places.
Mhm.
And that's what you're all about over there in Kenya, isn't it? Taking these people, you know,
Absolutely.
to other places and giving them possibilities and showing them potential. And it must be incredibly rewarding. This is an ongoing project. When are you going next?
We actually have a team of 8 people going again. We leave from those of us that are in Kansas City are leaving February 28th. And there'll be 4 of us from here. A man from Germany is coming to help with teaching brass instruments. And then a, a lady from California and her 2 daughters are coming to help with the choir. They're going to teach ukulele, and two of them are trained in the Alvin Ailey dance troupe. So they're gonna
Wow.
lead some dance classes. It's just gonna be amazing.
Excellent. Excellent. And are you going to take any instruments?
We have some instruments that need to be shipped. Unfortunately, we can't carry an entire trap set in our suitcases. However, there may be a violin traveling, and if anything else shows up between now and when we leave, we'll try to fit it in for sure.
And you're constantly taking donations for instruments, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes, we absolutely are. It's a never-ending request. And some other organizations that are interested in music in Kenya have gotten wind of what we are doing. And it's not unusual for me to get contacts from around the country. Do you think you could help us too? So you know, there's a huge need. We'll just leave it there.
Excellent. Well, we'll tell people at the end of the podcast how they can contact you and donate instruments and help you any way people can. Now, you and Nicole, you are the executive director of the Institute for Choral Singing, is Healthy Singing. Is that right, Jamia? Is that I get?
Yes, I'm the director of the Institute for Healthy Singing and Voice Research, and Nicole is the education director.
What is this Institute for Healthy Singing?
Well, the Institute for Healthy Singing is an initiative meant to prolong healthful use of the voice for any voice user, singers, speakers, both, for life, and to teach developmentally appropriate voice use practices. Um, uh, so from infant till the golden years. And as well as to train people in how the voice works from a scientific point of view so that they can understand their instrument a little bit better. And a big facet that we've been trying to maximize of late is the research side of things. And this year we established a vocology lab right here at the Choral Foundation. And we were able to outfit it with an audiometer and a CSL, which is a computerized speech lab. And we've got classroom space now, and it's just a beautiful space. So hopefully you'll be hearing more from us.
So we've already talked about Kenya and Atlanta and Chicago and the Institute for Healthy Singing. Now let's talk about what's going on here in Kansas City because you do so much great work. And Bill, I think one of the best things you guys do, in addition to the Festival Singers regular concerts, are the Summer Singers because
Oh,
you give so many, people a chance to take part in this wonderful art of choral singing. Can you tell us about your Summer Singers groups?
Well, we have five summer singers groups between Atlanta and Kansas City, and we now have three in Kansas City. The Summer Singers of Kansas City last year was 165 voices, and we did the block sacred service at Hellsberg Hall. This year, we're going to do the Beethoven Mass in C, and I'm actually going to conduct, in addition to that, the Beethoven Sixth.
Oh,
And
neat.
and then in Lee Summit, we're doing a program called Mozart and His American Contemporaries. So the first half of the program will be Mozart's Missa Brevis in D, and the second half of the program will be music that was composed in the United States when Mozart was living. So,
Intriguing. Wait, can you tell me a composer, an American
oh
composer,
yeah. Well,
contemporary
William
of Mozart?
Billings is considered by many America's first composer. Daniel Reed, Justin Morgan, who was all of them were lay composers, but he was a lay composer, probably more known for developing the Morgan breed of horses. And then there was Jeremiah Ingalls, who was a tavern owner and composer. But an exciting thing about this is music of the American Moravians. And the Moravians were a German sect, and they endorsed music education and the use of instruments, and a lot of their music sounds like CPE Bach. Or so we're doing a set of those pieces for chamber orchestra and chorus, and Nicole Williams is going to be the conductor of that set of the program.
Oh, neat. That must be
And
exciting, Nicole.
Yes, I'm very excited. I have come on as associate director for the Lee Summit Summer Singers, and I have done a Moravian piece one time, actually in 2024, but I don't really know a lot about that. So I'm going to be spending some time prepping and educating myself on what all that entails. But I'm very excited to get to know some of that music that I haven't heard before.
It
we
seems,
have I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just going to say about Moravian music. What I know about it is, didn't they used to have trombone choirs in the tower to
They
call
did.
services?
Yes, we're not using the trombone choir things, but that's very exciting. And when I was in college and playing trombone, I got to play in Moravian programs with trombone choirs,
Uh,
and which is it's a very exciting and unusual sound. But the best news about summer, well, one of the best news about Summer Singers this year is we're starting a brand new one in the Northland. It'll be based in Liberty, Missouri. And Daniel Baker, no relation, is going to be the director of it. And they're coming strong out of the gate. They've already got a lot of interest, and they'll be doing a concert of music by Vivaldi and Martini.
Oh, neat.
So
Well,
we'll have three summer singers groups going right here in Kansas City.
and these are big groups, aren't they? I mean,
They have been, yes. So the 125 to 150 in Kansas City, and 75 or so in Lee Summit, and the new Northland group looks like it's going to start out big too.
excellent. Spreading that choral gospel. Uh, now, in addition to the summer singers, then you have your core group. I don't know if you consider that an appropriate way to describe the festival singers, but
I think you could call the festival singers the flagship ensemble of the organization.
and you do such ambitious pieces. For example, in April, you're going to be doing the Mass in B minor by Bach.
We are, and it is a true monster piece. It's one that you lay awake at night worrying about how you're going to pull it off, and then after you pull it off, you lay awake at night dreaming about it for years. It's some of the most compelling, and in fact, it's been a problem for me in the office because I can't stop thinking about it long enough to do anything else right now.
It must be, quite daunting as a conductor to manage choir and orchestra in a piece like Bach, Mass in B minor. Do you find that pretty challenging, Bill? I mean, I know you've been doing this for years, but I mean, it would still make me very nervous.
Well, someone said, the Brahms Requiem, which I've conducted several dozen times. This will be my third time to do the B minor. Someone asked me one time with the Brahms, and I think that this fits the Bach Mass in B minor. Said, after all these years, do you feel comfortable to conduct it? And I said, no, I don't. I will never rise to this. I will always be struggling to find it. I will always be reaching up toward it. It's like Shaw said one time about the Misa Solemnis. I want to take my shoes off and conduct it barefoot because I'm on holy ground.
Wow. Wow. That's
So no, I'm intimidated by it as much as I was 20 years ago.
Well, it's quite the work. And one thing I admire about the festival singers and you, Bill, is how you take on these. And there's no work that you're not willing to take on,
Well,
and you do it so well. And it's just wonderful to be able to have a group in Kansas City where you can hear the Bach Mass in B minor. I think you're probably the only choral group in town with the resources to do such a piece. I don't know. I hate to say that out of school, but
well, when we did it in 2009, I don't think it had been done by a Kansas City group in 20 years or 25 years. The festival singers it's the joy of my professional life. First of all, as you can tell, I have the best staff in the world, and that makes everything in life easier. But these people they are professional, they are gracious, they are kind, they are dedicated, they are loving, they are every plaudit I can imagine. This group I've been doing choral music in 2 years, I can say that I've been doing choral music as a leader for a half a century.
um,
And this is the finest collection of people and musicians I've ever worked with.
and now people will have a chance to help support this amazing work we've been talking about and these amazing people too. Well, I can tell you firsthand are some of the best people in the world, and I want you to tell everybody how they can take part in this Kaleidoscope Gala. Where will it be? How much is it? Is there a fee and all that information? Any of you want to take
To me,
that
I'm looking at you.
on?
The Kaleidoscope Gala will be taking place at the Carriage Club in Kansas City, Missouri on January 30th at 6 p.m. And you can purchase your tickets by going to choralfoundation.org on the web and look under events, and the Kaleidoscope Gala tickets are available for purchase there. The tickets are $85 per seat, And for that, you get a number of hours worth of wonderful entertainment, wonderful meal and drinks and desserts, and just a lot of fun with very good people.
Absolutely. That'll be a blast. Well, William Baker and Dr. Jamia Sale and Nicole Williams, it's been a pleasure talking to the three of you, and I wish you all the best. And I want to thank you very much for all the great work you do, bringing music to so many people, not just here in Atlanta and Chicago, but also in Kenya, of all places. And something tells me down the line, you're probably going to be taking music to Yakutsk and Mongolia.
Never know, Patrick.
Yep.
So I hope a lot of people will come out to that Kaleidoscope Gala and help you continue your great work. Thank you so much for joining me today on the KC Arts Beat Report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks, Patrick.